All right, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 134 of Dissonant Waves. And this is the beginning of our big fifth wave emo summer draft.
Bye,
If you are
guys.
listening to the main episodes only, you may notice that this isn't Radiohead, this isn't The Smiths, this isn't Muse, this isn't ballpark music. That episode will come later. In the meantime,
I'm gay.
remove I'm gay, we're doing this instead. Who do I have with me joining us on this journey?
Trix?
You got me. You got me as well. Yeah, I'm kind of the reason why the episode all fucked up. I thought I had food poisoning. I was in a really shit state. That is actually the best way of describing it because that's what was happening. For 4 days, which I just couldn't really listen to music. Full stop. Didn't really even have the energy for that, let alone talk about it. And I thought I had ate some really bad sushi and got food poisoning. Turns out I had gastro.
Oh damn!
Yeah, it was just mild enough that I wasn't vomiting. It wasn't exactly gastro, but it was like I had a virus that causes gastro.
Well, I'm glad you are feeling better,
Yeah.
hopefully.
So that just happened.
Pro tip for anyone who needs to call out of work ever and that doesn't want an excuse that'll be questioned. Say that you have a stomach bug and that it is coming out of both ends because they will not question it.
Hey, I don't think they want the proof of that one. If they ever asked proof, then they could have seen some of the wildest pictures, man.
Send them an OnlyFans link.
Yeah, basically. That's kind of why we didn't do the Radiohead episode.
But we'll get to that eventually. I will say in college one time, I was meeting up with a friend group, and one friend used that excuse, and we did ask for proof.
Oh, fuck.
That is different if it's in a friend group. If it's work, do not ask for proof.
Yeah.
And it was true. So sometimes it actually works out, and that actually is the case. But we are in our first round of our fifth wave emo summer draft 2023. Our picks, all that fun stuff. We have two lists, one pick of legacy picks that are from throughout the fifth wave emo scene from various years, and a list dedicated to what's happening in 2023. This week, I asked everybody to pick something from each list. One from each list, I guess. And we have chosen. Does anyone want to introduce their own briefly?
Yeah, I'll introduce my ones. I wanted to pick some ones because I came off this sickness that I was well equipped to actually talk about because I knew them. So I picked both Hey I Love You's Internet Breath EP and Chinese Football's Win&Lose.
I chose one that I was familiar with and one that I just kind of picked at random because I recognized them. I did Soak by Guitar Fight from Fooly Cooly and Fawn by OK Cool.
And I wanted something a little bit different, one that I knew we had to cover and one that I felt fit pretty well with it. I did Weatherday's Come In album as well as the self-titled, I don't know, I think it's more of an album than an EP listening to it, but it's a Polish band called Przeprosiny. Or Przeprosiny.
In order to not offend anybody and offend everybody at the same time, I will simply be referring to them as the Polacks.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'll join you on that one.
I'll do my best to figure something out. I am Polish, so I can at least use that excuse.
Now, before we get into these, I gotta admit that whilst we're doing this episode, I'm not currently listening, but I am watching out for updates for the Classic 100 Top 100 Instruments of All Time vote that's happened. We are currently playing number 9, which is actually the choir, believe it or not. They separated voice into mostly its tones. So we got soprano, tenor have been in there, baritone I think was like 29. And choir is actually number 9. So if you two have any questions about any instrument and if it's landed, I will tell you right now. To start it off, one that I actually voted for, this is the first time I've ever voted for something that came number 100, the guitar.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm still shocked. That should have been higher.
Was that from Yo's amazing performance and the Leica version?
It's just a good instrument. Guitar. Have you ever looked at a guitar and said that sucked?
No.
Some
Exactly.
shitty guitars, yes.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
no.
the build quality.
People might have used it bad, but the guitar itself is pretty cool. The kazoo came only in at number 90, which is an absolute travesty. The triangle came only at number 80. These are 3 that I voted for. And then absolute tragedy akin to 9/11. The recorder only came 25.
Oh fuck!
Damn.
Where's the singing saw?
Where's the? We don't have the saw so far.
Damn.
Number
The
one.
theremin only came 48. The ukulele came 54. I voted for that one as well. The glockenspiel at 59. And even fucking crazier, the Carolyn, it came 78. I might have pronounced that wrong.
The Carlisle one is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that. You know what that one is, Dominic?
No, I don't.
It's a tower full of bells.
It's what?
That you have to punch the bells as well, don't you?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a tower full of bells that you have to punch levers to play.
Have they ranked the tubular bells?
We don't have the tubular bells at the moment, but the cannon came in at number 79.
Hell yeah!
Oh fuck yeah, cannon! Holy shit!
That is a classic Australian instrument too, because of AC/DC.
Actually, if we're talking about true classic Australian instruments, the gum leaf came at 91.
Hell yeah!
And obviously, the didgeridoo did make it, has made it at number 15.
I have a fun fact about baritones. In my senior year of high school, I was the only baritone in our select choir.
Ooh, I think I was in middle school. Yeah, the only.
That's gotta be rough for you.
Nah, it's kind of funny, honestly.
Well, you played Shrek.
Yeah, it was that line from Elf, where it's "You're the only baritone in our choir. You bring us down a whole octave." I lived that.
There are some other travesties that happened in this countdown, which I didn't vote for, surprisingly. I didn't vote for the harmonica. It was close, obviously, because of Death Slamming Fun. But that came at 40. That came at 47. And the bagpipes got robbed, number 14.
Have they included change or money?
Which one?
Like loose change.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to be an instrument that's going to be in the top 8, obviously. But I'll need to check the voting list to see if that was in the percussion.
I have an important request.
Oh, the tubular bells was 62, by the way.
Oh shit.
What number is 69?
The hurdy-gurdy.
Fuck yeah. That fits. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, so that's the most fuckable instrument.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have some stuff to talk about. Otherwise, we can come back to that as things progress. But
yeah, so I will give live updates when they come in. But yeah, for now, it's a pretty interesting list. I recommend everybody check out the Classic 100.
Trix, you talked about you have a clear number 1 and number 6 because we have 6 things to talk about this week.
Yes.
I'm curious what your number 6 is.
Chinese football.
Let's start there.
Okay.
Win and Lose, the end of a trilogy of sorts from Chinese football.
I forgot that I picked this.
Yeah.
First off, Trix, I think you're being pretty rough. I don't think this is a clear number 1, obviously. I think clear number 6 is a bit rough on this. It is definitely, in the grand scheme of all the fifth wave emo and stuff out there, just an album that exists. But I still think there's some good moments on this. So I think this is actually the first time where I'm recording talking about Chinese football, but obviously I did pick it for the foreign episode with the EP. I'm not quite sure what your two thoughts on the EP was. My thoughts on the EP was mostly that it was a really nice, chill math rock EP that fits in the emo sphere. Maybe it's a bit more, I'm bragging about listening to it like, oh, these people are from China. Look at this. I'm listening to foreign music. But basically, it is just very bog standard, jangly emo, we'll call it. It's just kind of math rock. It's mostly just the emo sound of American football. It's Chinese football. It sounds like American football. It's almost like they're aware of that. But yeah, they've come back after a bit of a wait between the EP and their last album with Win&Lose, and I was excited to listen to this. And when it came out, I listened to it and I liked it. It's not the most.
You're getting a little bleepy bloopy.
Yeah, apologies on that. That's probably just gonna be me. That's a fantastic image there, Trix. Point being,
thank you.
This is fine. I like it. I'm not in love with it. It's nowhere close to the number 1 of this week. Let alone the year. But I mean, the thing that really stands out for this album and why I like it is that the riffs on here are just really catchy.
Can I give why I think it's a number 6? Because I'm gonna be honest, it sounds kind of racist.
Oh God, sure.
I'm
no longer gonna have the worst take in this.
You're not, and I'm gonna be honest. It's mostly because I listened to this album and I was tired. I've had a hell of a week. The way, because it's in Chinese, it just kind of hits my ears like AI generated emo.
You stopped yourself halfway through that thing. Should I even finish this take? wasn't even that racist, and you're still stopping yourself halfway
I swear
through.
that is the reason.
I think this album is very light, really breezy, surprisingly, in the emo scene. And that maybe goes more to the math rock aspect of it. And coming off of Continue, which I liked, I think I voted for that as best of the week. Or maybe the other one, I can't remember. Definitely not my pick that week. But I liked Continue. And the song Monster, I thought was pretty heavy, and I liked where that went. And there isn't a lot of heaviness on this EP, on this album, I mean. There isn't a lot of, like, chugging riffs or anything like that. The only time it really gets anywhere near there is, like, the last song, Goodbye, has some of that a little bit, I feel like. But, no, like, if anything, I was reminded of specific songs throughout, more but, like, The Black Parade was in a couple moments. I was specifically thinking about Sweet Disposition during Summer Limited Girlfriend.
Yeah, I get a vibe like that. No,
but that
it's obviously a different song, but like
there's some vocal intonation and some of the beat kind of sounded like it. So that's maybe where we're talking of like Welcome to the Black Parade Sweet Disposition territory, not like L. Ron Hubbard was way cool or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean obviously we're not Chinese, we're not fluent in it, so when it comes to understanding the lyrics and how they hit, that's going to be completely lost on us. There is some translations. I can't obviously remember them off the top of my head, but basically when I'm listening to this, I'm more focusing on the instrumentation and how the vocals actually just sound, whether or not instead of having what's actually being said on there. And the thing about this album, and it's a comparison, you can do it to a lot of other fifth wave emo, is that this is not in anywhere. This is not trying to sound like an underground experimental emo record or DIY. This is it. I mean, it goes to where Chinese football started from. They're technically in the fifth wave now, but they mostly started in fourth wave, so they sound more like fourth wave.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we get this more kind of accessible math rocky type of sound rather than the whole a more experimental DIY sound that we're getting in the current wave of all this. And it's fine. It's like I'm not trying to do that as this kind of whole insult, but it is showing that we are kind of done with it now. So when it goes to 57 minutes of it, which is how long this album is, we're not getting 57 minutes of pure interesting music anymore. We're getting 57 minutes of math rock again, and there are still some really good moments on here. I think there's some really tight songwriting and the instrumentation on here. Some of the riffs really hit hard. Like, Dinosaurs Went Extinct in the End has probably one of the catchiest guitar riffs I've heard this year.
And what's interesting too, that was cool, is that this album is kind of split into two. You have like the you win, you lose sides of things. And if you kind of look at it, it might be ostensibly kind of the win and lose path of a video game or something, where you win, you get these songs, you lose, you get these songs. And
yeah, I get that vibe as well, because it definitely feels like the second half is a little more heavier than the first half.
Yeah.
It's like it's not that much difference in it.
But even then, they do find some ways to vary it up and keep it beyond just a math rock thing or an emo thing. Like, I know that, at least from what I was reading, this album has gotten some flack even in Chinese audiences for straying away from kind of the emo heavier side of things, because I think it was Amusement Park Life that has the accordion solo.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember it off the top of my head.
And like
songs.
And like Human Loss is more of a dream pop song. So they're really exploring different avenues, which is kind of the moniker of like the DIY fifth wave emo style of let's try different things. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Right.
Yeah.
But
Anytime you get flack from straying away from the path, it's well, what's the good old thing with metal fans is that if you don't sound like metal, you're posers. But if you're copying Black Sabbath, you're real metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can think of at least 12 Black Sabbath-y sounding bands off the top of my head.
Jesus Christ! Of course you can. I'm sure we've listened to most of them.
No, we haven't. We've only listened to about half of them.
But it's a fine album. I think it's gone too long. To be honest, I think a lot of the songs do kind of blend in with each other. So Trix, you can use your favorite word, blender here.
Yeah, I was going to.
The moments in which it does sound different or to do something, and they stray away a bit from the sound is where it starts to shine, which is the second half. Like the first half of this does have some good moments. I think Summer Limited Girlfriend, which turns more into this kind of like dance, like indie dance song at times.
Yeah.
And then The World is Splitting in Two, which goes into that whole more straight up indie rock. Those two, I mean, there's other songs on the record that sound like them, but those are the two that executed the most and are the best. And they probably just could have kept those two and removed April Story and Amusement Park Life or One Way Train. And those ones are just, like, they're fine. I think they're outshined by other songs on the record which are doing the same thing but doing better.
I would keep Amusement Park Live because I do like that accordion solo. I think that's a really interesting place for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're keeping Human Lost, especially.
Yeah. And then the second half is a bit more varied, I think, but
yeah,
it's a case of when I'm listening to this album, I'm not listening to an album. I'm just listening to a collection of songs, and there definitely is the concept that they put in here for the album, and I have no real hatred for this record. Say that I did for when we're talking about when things get blendery or anything like that, we'll go to our absolute lowest of bars. And there's no hate like the Trixie Mattel where everything sounded the same and what it sounded like was still not good. And this is a case of even when it sounds the same, at least it's still there's still some catchy riffs or some catchy moments in there to make me just comfortable with listening to it.
Yeah,
that's how I really feel about this album. I think there's some really good songs and they should not be skipped over. I think it's fair to say it's your number 6 of the week, but I don't think it's a clear number 6. I think it still holds up well. I don't think we're going to actually get a bad record this week.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's a clear number 6 for me in the fact that it's still good, but the others were just that much better for me.
I think I had higher hopes because I like Continue enough that I thought that whatever came next would be a kind of a big, powerful conclusion, especially taking this long. And I get that a lot happened, COVID, touring, all that stuff. But
I guess you shouldn't have continued.
I think Continue benefits from being a shorter release as well, and I think this should have probably been. Well, it feels like a lot of this could have just been a compilation or something like that rather than an album.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly everything that's happened on here, but at least still what we've got on here is still good.
Like, I really like moments like Wuhan, where it's just a tribute to their hometown of Wuhan, which has gotten raked through the coals of world culture, you know?
Yes.
So that's kind of a nice, powerful moment that I really enjoy from, like, an outsider perspective, seeing them be proud of where they came from. But the second half really does it for me. It makes the album more of what I like. The first half, it has a couple moments, but yeah, the second half clearly is better for me.
Yeah.
It's not really much more to talk about on this record, but it's good.
It's listenable. It's fine. You could do a lot worse.
I think when you talk about the best records of the fifth wave, or even the end of the fourth wave, transitional bands, we'll call them.
Yeah.
It's not really in the consideration, but if you're at this point where you want to find more bands or find every band, then yeah, they're a deserving part of the conversation. They're deserving in that about how. A big thing about fifth wave is how worldwide it's getting as well. So
yes, that was my point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have 3 bands in this week that are from outside of either of our countries.
Yeah. So it's worth. They're still worth being in the conversation. I think this is one of those records in which you go like, if you want to explore it more in a certain direction, then give this as a recommendation because it's still a good album.
I'd still probably do continue first.
Yeah, I would do continue first. It's got its flaws, but it's like if you're looking for a lot of the sound, then you're going to get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a disappointing record. It's just it could have been more.
Yeah.
Favorites for me, Wuhan, Human Lost. I like Goodbye as well. My least favorite's probably something like April Story.
Yeah, my least favorite's probably April Story. I think The World is Splitting in Two, and Dinosaurs went extinct in the end is also one of the other favorites. But The World is Splitting in Two does exactly what April Story does, but so much better. And that's one of the big cases. And April Story is just like, yeah, it's there. Summer Limited Girlfriend, I think, is a really nice kind of dancey track as well to open this up, and I reckon it's a better opener than April Story. Yeah, so favorites probably those 3, and least favorite April Story.
Thanks.
Blender.
All right, Ritz, where are we traveling to next?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think
we're in China now.
I know we're in China now, but I think we're gonna go all the way over to, I believe it's Sweden, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in Sweden is where Weatherday is.
Yeah, let's go to Weatherday.
Come in.
This is my number 1.
I'm not surprised. I think this would probably be everyone's number 1.
It is not mine.
I think you're wrong. It's good. This is. It's not my favorite out of the fifth wave emo, man, but this is still a fantastic record.
It is my number 2.
This feels like you just plugged my brain into an amplifier.
I think there are a lot of the great moments on here. I think Come In is a perfect opener for what the sound is.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like Older Than Before, Mio Min Mio, they really do a lot to expand the sound and keep it going.
You know, I'll quickly take back to the number 1 because I'm not too cemented, but it's definitely there's one other that might be my number 1, but yeah, well, for now, I think it's probably still going to be number 1.
Well, I mean, like the core of this record. I mean, this is mine, right? This is Weatherday. This is somebody who's been in the fifth wave, working with Asian Glow, working a lot, putting out a lot of music, doing compilations and whatnot. Very well known to other artists. Works a lot with Oolong. I've seen. I picked this because I always wanted to listen to this and like put it on the show. Just needed a moment to do it. But anyway. Mm-hmm. The core of this record is My Sputnik Sweetheart, which is one of those long tracks that some of these bands really like to do. This one's 13 and a half minutes. And it's kind of like, I can see where Radar Ballet came from really well because those guitar tones are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And then Radar Ballet, still my favorite Weatherday song, but I mean, what is here is very interesting in that it tells a story. You don't even really have to pay attention to the story, but there's like a world being created, and there's a lot that just kind of happens throughout the 51 or so minutes. And like there's kind of thematic stuff happening, kind of like Chinese football, but it's less told to you and more just you hear it. Like the theme of Come In, coming back in porcelain hands.
So I think I'm going to bring us back to like a very early episode here. And by very early, I mean probably only a year ago, where I think we talked about it in our anniversary episode. The album of the fifth wave movement. It's what's history going to say is the album, and I think we're kind of on this not an agreement, but we kind of definitely there's a valid point that it's either going to be this or Glass Beach.
Yeah, like kind of the starting point. Yeah,
and it's a case of like they're both 2019 albums, but it also shows the kind of 2 directions that the fifth wave has basically gone into, where you have the Glass Beach one, which goes into the more experimental sounding in the case of in the case of straying into sounds that aren't directly emo or just sounds that aren't associated with emo whatsoever. Whilst this album basically has influenced the rest of the fifth wave scene, in which has gone into the more, obviously it's all pretty DIY, so that's the pretty more universal part about it, but into the more shoegazy kind of post-rock sound that we got from this, which is usually associated with a lot more of the foreign artists. And I say foreign because usually emo is pretty deep rooted in the United States, and obviously this one's a lot more global, and we're getting a lot more sounds in this. But we are getting countries that aren't usually associated in this scene break out more into this post-rocky sound, and it's thanks basically to this album.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even in the case of this album has sounds that we haven't heard before in here,
right?
Because there's a lot of this that reminds me of the Brave Little Abacus.
It reminds me too of like kind of this is, I don't really feel this way, but I think Trix, you mentioned it the other episode of like the whole Seinfeld isn't funny thing, where if we heard this when it came out, this would have been huge, revelatory, right? But this is 4 years later, where it is just a part of the scene now. Kind of the magic of some of it is a little lost, and we can still appreciate it, like what it did and what kind of impact it has, but we don't have the ability to experience it in 2019 when it first was hitting.
Mm-hmm.
We could have started this podcast by listening to this, because we were starting 2019.
If I brought up Origami Angel in 2019, we probably would have been way more ahead of Fifth Wave.
Yeah.
But here we go. But it's one of those records which it's, even though it's not so experimental in that case, in which I usually like to say this in this, it's you know that episode of The Simpsons where Lisa's afraid she's going to lose her brain, and she goes to the jazz club and she describes the jazz artist by saying you have to listen to the notes she's not playing.
Yeah.
I feel like that with some of these records, and even on the Weatherday, it's when those moments, like you get all this kind of clutter and shit that will happen especially in shoegaze and stuff, and then when those moments of kind of just more clear sounding happen, it just hits a lot better. It's talking about contrast, I guess, in this as well. And this is one of those records that kind of feels like that. It's like when you get those moments when the guitar riffs comes in, and then this kind of loud screaming happens kind of like to the side of it.
Yeah.
It's just like it just hits pretty well just in the context of this record.
Plus, like, the circuit still has plenty of surprises. Like, the whole choir element is something I still have not really heard anyone else do as effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And having something like Sputnik Sweetheart kind of have that halfway through, something like that is still a surprise. It still hits you really well because, you think you've heard everything in Fifth Wave Emo, but you haven't.
Yeah.
We've gone quiet now because no one knows who's going to be the next one to talk.
I mean, I have to also admire Sputnik, the artist. Their whole aesthetic is quite defined. And it seems to both inform the album, and the album also informs the art style. I don't know. I think there's a real zest for trying to be an artist of all shades and colors. But this is where maybe that they have had the most success. Because I know that they had like a webcomic before this. I don't know how well that webcomic did, but I certainly haven't heard much about it.
Yeah, but Weatherday is quite a prolific artist, even if it's not just under Weatherday. I think it was last year that they released five Pebbles.
At the end of 21, I think.
Yeah, that's Shoegaze EP, which I admittedly wasn't too fond of when I heard it, so I don't know how I feel giving it a proper listen. But
there's like Lola's Pocket PC.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. They've obviously done a bunch of collaborations. I believe they did one with Asian Glow quite recently. I think, with a Glow. Although granted, I said Paranol did it and called it Paraglow, so I wonder who the more collaborative one out of that is. But still,
yeah. Asian Glow is kind of the more prolific one, I think.
Yeah. If you look at the recommendations, there is a Lola's Pocket PC, which is also the electronic side project of Weatherday, or Sputnik, I guess in this case, which they refer to themselves as. So they're not just this person who's come out and gotten this random album that they made on their first go get successful. They've grinded quite a lot in a bunch of different scenes, and then have found themselves with not just quite a bit of success, but quite a bit of importance in the fifth wave, wave lore, because eventually we're going to the sixth wave. I don't know when that will be. That could be in 2 weeks. That could be in 10 years.
I mean, it's telling too. Sorry,
but it is a case of it's not going to be you will see in the future that this album has established the sounds that these waves have gone into, because you can see in the present that it's done it.
I was going to give an example because I was at a party a few weeks ago and I was talking to someone who just subscribed not too long ago. Natalie, if you're listening, hello. But I was trying to explain like fifth wave emo and kind of why I like listening to it and what it does. And they were like, "Oh, you mean so like something like Weatherday?" And I'm like, "Yes, exactly. Weatherday is a good example of that. They're in that scene."
Mm-hmm.
So like people who are not as tuned in or plugged into fifth wave, who are maybe more approaching it from like an outsider music or of like a general sense of what's queer, what's different, what's out there, they have all kind of heard about Weatherday, I think, and have appreciated it in different shades, different stripes.
You like cut out for me, so I don't even know what you fucking ended with there, but I agree.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Just saying.
So to give a quick update as well, number 8 was the harp, number 7 was the organ.
Penis joke about an organ, insert now.
That's what she said.
Yeah, anyway, continue, Dominic.
No, just that, like, I think Weatherday is broken out because of the DIY-ness, because of the outsider musicness of some of it. Like, I think the kind of image you kind of get of Weatherday is someone making all this music and, like, screaming about it into an Xbox 360 headset.
Yeah, you're just mad because I can do something with my fucking guitar hands that you'll never do with a woman in your life. So yeah, you're gay.
Yeah.
I don't really have a ton else to say. Like, we could get into the songs, but the songs aren't really coming to me right now, other than like the biggest ones.
I mean, my personal favorite is still Porcelain Hands on here, because I just think those riffs just go fucking hard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Porcelain Hands goes hard.
Yeah.
Agatica, track 10.
Yeah,
Agatha, you're being your melody or something. I can't. Melodramatic. And Painted Girls theme, I'll go hard.
I really like Sputnik Sweetheart. That song does so much. I also really like Come In, and Porcelain Hands kind of pairing with that is really good. It's more of the fact that I don't really jive with all of the songs, but there are a lot of highlights for me. Like, in terms of like enjoyment, this is definitely up there, but it's not a universal enjoyment. It's kind of like, oh, I really dig this, and then it kind of dies down a bit. Oh, I really dig this, you know? Peaks and valleys, but it's still higher. Hello? Ooh, having some problems, eh?
Dominic.
Hello. Am I back?
Domino.
Hello?
Domino.
Hello, hello.
300 Pizza Hut.
Nope, that's not happening.
While we
testing.
Is he resetting his router? Anyway, as you're saying, Trix?
I found, while trying to find, because under YouTube Music, there's a
hello,
Wikipedia page for Sputnik. And
testing.
But when you search Sputnik artist on Google, another musician by the name of Sputnik comes up, and he's a Swedish cowboy.
Yeah, well, there's actually a band called Sputnik Sweetheart that's in Canberra.
Ah.
Hello,
musician
Dominic,
and truck driver. Oh.
Am I back? Can you hear me? Hello?
And it's Norway, not Sweden. Luckily, that wasn't recorded.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello. Dominic, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, he's typing.
He can hear, that's good. Are you still recording, Dominic? Cool. Dominic's recording, so I'm just going to go back to my fort now. So what I was saying with the Chinese football record is that that's an album in which you go back to certain songs on there instead of it going back into like start to finish from you win to goodbye. You go back to a certain couple of songs, have a mini playlist, blah, blah.
Hello.
Times where you just won't finish the whole thing. whilst Weatherdays Come In is the complete opposite in that kind of listening experience, in which you want to go and say, oh, what's your favorite song with that? And you'll be able to get your favorite songs. You will have songs that you put in your playlist. But it's so much easier to just go from start to finish, to go from Come In to Porcelain Hands. Because it fits a lot more as an album experience. That has been my thought, Dominic. You hear, Dominic?
Hello. Hello. The fuck?
Dominic, have you checked your mic settings?
Hopefully we don't need a computer restart.
Hello? Oh, I'm back.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Technical difficulties in the draft.
Anyway, any more to say about Come In?
Well, we're talking about Sputnik's Sweetheart a bit in just a genuineness of it, because obviously Sputnik's Sweetheart is based off the old Japanese novel. But Trix was mentioning that she found other bands by Sputnik. I mentioned that there's a band in Canberra called Sputnik's Sweetheart as well. So it seems to be kind of like a whole... The Sputnik Sweetheart seems to be something that a lot of people kind of are looking to recently for inspiration.
Sure.
And Sputnik is also the drone, or this first satellite.
And, I mean, the things that Weatherday or Sputnik is inspired by, whether that's, the Mother series or Murakami, the Japanese author, that's a lot of stuff I see referenced here and there, especially in the fifth wave scene of Earthbound or something like that. Yeah. So it kind of comes from a lot of the same gene pool, but different outcomes, which is always fun.
Mm-hmm. But there's a Norwegian cowboy that goes by Sputnik.
Imagine they were all the same person.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, I think favorite of here is Porcelain Hands. I don't really have a least favorite. Again, I don't think this is like I personally, when it comes into my my favorites from the fifth wave, it's not my favorite, but I definitely see why a lot of people grabbed inspiration from this record or liked it, because it's still fucking up there. My Sputnik Sweetheart is a really fucking good song for being a long song as well. Least favorite, probably something like Water Dreamer the Same, or Painted Girls Theme was around that area.
I agree with Water Dreamer the Same, Painted Girls Theme being among the least favorites. My favorites are still Come In, Sputnik Sweetheart, and Porcelain Hands.
My favorite are the last three tracks, and I have no least favorites.
All right. So I'll pick next then, if we're cool moving on.
Yeah.
I'm going to fly us back momentarily to the States. Or not back, because Ritz, you're not from here. But
yeah,
I'll fly us to the States. I want to talk about, if we're talking about inspiration, we
also haven't even started in the States this episode yet.
Yeah, let's go to Tennessee and talk about Guitar Fight with Fooly Cooly again. From Fooly Cooly. Because, goddamn, this album is Origami Angel inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Soak is just, let's take some licks from Somewhere City and make an album.
And it works.
It mostly works. They definitely go harder on the video game references, like 64 being Mario 64's voice, or My Friends Are My Power literally being a rip from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. That threw me off my feet the first time I heard it.
I was laughing so much.
Me too.
I like this more than Wooden Cross, or whatever the EP was called.
Drought. This is Soak.
Drought.
That's Drought.
That was Drought. Yeah. I like it more than Drought.
Yeah.
Not by much. I do just realize after having listened to this though, you kind of just had to throw out all critical analysis and just say, is it fun or not? Yeah. Because it's just a bunch of video game samples and some cool math rock guitar. That's all it is. It's really hard to be critically analysis about it. It's like whether or not you like the vibe of it. And my answer is, yeah, kind of.
It's a memory of playing video games while sick from school and chugging like Mountain Dew or something.
I really dug this on first listen. I was really into it, and then I listened to it more, and I was like, it's all right. There's some cool things, but I don't know. I never quite understood what made me like it so much the first time around. I think it's just like the surprise of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to listen to it the first time is to just get a lot of cool little nifty moments you just hear, and then it's like, okay, I've heard them. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well.
Like you get that, like the end of the last song, Tea and Crumpets, is great. You have two metal breakdowns. You have them just shouting Tea and Crumpets, Tea and Crumpets. It's fucking great.
It is.
It's fucking silly, I just love it. But I can only listen to a song about Pokemon Diamond and Pearl so many times. And considering too that they're doing 4th gen when Origami Angel, of course, did Gen 3, so
I'm
it's
gonna be honest,
literally a
Gen 4 was my
continuation.
favorite.
Oh, that was your favorite?
Gen 4 was my favorite.
I mean, I was a Gen 3 kid, but either way. Like, so the fact that they're following them to that degree is interesting. This album only came out a year after a lot of their EPs started really hitting. Like, they had some stuff earlier, but I feel like Origami Angel in 2019 was where they became more known.
I found a like from I want to say like 2020 when it was like essential fifth wave emo listening, and
Ooh.
this was on there.
I could see that. I mean, back then, I don't think the scene was as defined, and so it was just kind of like, look at these goofy video game samples and some really interesting like tracks in between those.
Yeah.
And I think as we've become more defined, this album kind of exists as a timestamp of 2020.
It kind of does. You're right.
With like songs like "Stay Hydrated," "Fuck 'Em."
Yeah, look, if I listened to this album in 2020, I probably would have been a bit warmer on it. I don't think. It's sticking with the takes that I'm having here. I don't think this is a critical masterpiece of an album or anything to really critically analyze, because there's hardly anything to analyze. It's just what you hear is what you get. Basically, you get a bunch of licks, you get a bunch of samples, and then sometimes you get some screaming. And
Yeah.
it's. I feel like in 2020 that would have been really fun to listen to, because in 2020 the listening was basically like, I don't care, what's fun.
Yeah,
We're just trying to distract ourselves this year, and now we have distracted ourselves and we've got other issues to worry about. But other than that, and I don't think I really would have listened to this album outside of 2020. And I don't mean this as any kind of insult. There's always a place for albums to be made that only really fit the time period that they come out in, because without that, you don't really get a proper encapsulation of a certain time era's music. I think this is the definition of a 2020 album.
Yeah.
which is interesting because they talked about how Drought was recorded at the same time as all this, and that doesn't feel like it. It feels different enough that I would confuse it for being a much newer set of recordings.
Yeah. I got no real butt to that.
But
I'm more curious what they're doing now. If like that's all from back then, like what have they been actually doing besides like taking some time off and mixing Drought? Is there new music gonna be down the pipeline, or is it more just a wait and see thing?
who knows?
But I don't know. This album is here. It is interesting. It was better the first time around.
Yeah. That's how I feel about it. I want to talk more about it because it feels like that's what we should be doing with these with albums here.
It does,
Listen
but
to it once.
To be honest, I think I've heard more people talk more about their earlier release, Alpha Omega Murphy,
interesting. Well, I guess we'll have to go back to that at some point.
than Soak. So maybe if we go to that one, there's going to be a lot more interesting. But here, yeah, I like the album art. The album art's funny.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to understand what Guitar Fight from Fooly Cooly is, I guess this would be, because there is a Fooly Cooly sample in this, so that does fulfill the quota.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right, and Alpha Omega Murphy is actually the starting point we should have. And that's what we said for Drought, too. That maybe Silk is the starting point we should have. Maybe this fixes everything.
Although, I just want to point out that they do have the best playlist on Spotify. It's Guitar Fight Influences, and it's Wars Lowrider 9 times, then Don't Smoke From Sleep, and then the Kids Bop version of Thrift Shop.
That's incredible.
That is great thematically, just entertaining material.
And even better, that Thrift Shop Kids Bop was added a year after the playlist was created. Everything else was added on February 3rd, 2021, and then they just added the Kids Bop one a year a bit later.
One thing I saw that was interesting was people talking about on like blogs and reviews how they were listening to this album a lot. It was something they just put in over and over and over. And like that's just one of those things that I can't imagine doing now for this.
Yeah.
I could imagine for this record putting it over and over, because I think it's one of those ones that it's just like you either, like, as I'm saying, it's one of those ones it's just fun.
Yeah.
So I think this is just one you can just put in the background. It's not something that you're focusing on every time. You're just having fun listening to the riffs and then going. I could see people.
I feel like you'd be laughing at Kingdom Hearts and Mario, but yeah.
We've got a massive upset here in the instruments poll, because number 6 has just come in, and I thought this would be an absolute lock for top 3 if it didn't take out number 1. It's come number 6. It's the acoustic guitar.
Oh damn!
I thought that would win it.
An electric guitar was earlier already.
Electric guitar was electric bass was 50, but the electric guitar was 42.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is the last one in the standard guitar family. We've already had the sitar as well. That one was like number 38, was it? Let me see. It was number 40.
We'll have an upset, and banjo will be number 1.
I'm very sorry to give you this news, but it was 35.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Mandolin. Damn.
I don't think we have had the mandolin. I'm currently scrubbing through, but I think the mandolin might still be in the running here.
Ooh.
Mandolin,
yeah.
Mandolin.
The synth was 41. Nah, mandolin was 27.
Fuck.
Oh man.
Piano's
gonna take it. Upright grand piano.
We are still waiting on the violin, which will probably be the highest string instrument. We are
It's
still
already
waiting
high,
on the
baby.
piano. We're still waiting on the piano as well. Those two should 100% be in there.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had the clarinet. I think the clarinet has not played yet.
Where's the oboe?
We've got the bass clarinet at 52. A saxophone has been in multiple times.
Alto sax specifically.
Alto sax is 26.
Fuck.
He got beaten by the tenor sax at 23.
Where's the oboe?
Ooh, have we had the oboe? I don't think we've had the oboe, but that might not make it at this point.
Viola?
Ooh.
Viola was number 13.
Alright. Cello.
No cello, but we had the double bass.
Cello will be top 5.
Maybe. We had the oud at number 16.
Oh, good.
I love the oud.
Yeah. The French horn was number 12.
How about the stylophone?
Now, I know this is one that you might be going like, oh yeah, no, that's going to be high, that's going to be high. Number 24 was the drum kit.
I didn't expect that one to be high.
I expected that to be pretty high, especially since there's a lot of jazz instruments getting high in this. So far, the highest jazz instrument is the trumpet. The regular harp is number 8.
Jaw harp could take number 1.
Maybe. I think you're right. I think we got clarinet, violin, piano, and I don't think the oboe is going to be top 5.
Imagine if it was number 1. That'd be such an upset.
Yeah,
it would.
I think the piano has to take it from here.
But my favorites from Soak are My Friends Are My Power and Tea and Crumpets. My least favorite's Ginger Ailment.
I'm gonna agree with all that.
Yeah, my least favorite's Ginger Ailment. Teen's Candle is also down there for me. Not the best. All right, so let's take it back to Trix. Where are we flying to next?
Shit. Why don't we go to Poland?
Yeah. Let me try to pronounce it again. Przeprosiny. Self-titled album EP thing, including a title or a track that has the same title.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably my least favorite of the week.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's just I think there's just a lot more that can be done with this.
I thought this was pretty solid for a debut thing, and for being so underground and unknown, and for being from Poland especially. Like, that's not a place you associate with having an emo scene, but of course anywhere can these days.
Because they're very homophobic.
But I really dug what was happening here. Like obviously the titles are in Polish, so it can't. I wrote down the translations, but yeah. But basically, the title, the band, the album, it's all basically apology or apologia. So that kind of fits in with what Fifth Wave is about.
I don't put this as my least favorite because I hate it. I think it's fine, and I think you're right. There is a lot interesting when you put into the context that this is a debut. This is basically someone that's really unknown, hasn't really got any other established projects or anything on here, and it's kind of just a putting your footing through the door, and trying to see. But we've also covered a lot of artists that have done that, which I think have, instead of putting put their foot through the door, they've opened it wildly and gone, "It's a me, Mario."
It's a me.
I think there is stuff to talk about though in terms of the opening couple tracks have a song, like a sound that specifically sounds like proper of all things. Like there's the guitar tones on there reminded me a lot of Great American Novel. That's the name of that album, right? Yeah.
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 And then as we went along, it became more shoegazy and kind of reminded me of Grief Eater's mix of shoegaze fuzz and having that really beautiful clean voice under all of it. And it kind of mixed them in a really interesting way. Kind of a couple songs in between, like Pused or however you pronounce that, having a weird kind of marching band theme. It was a unique take. I felt like, and I think it got better over time too.
Yes.
Stuff like Sam or Vicine or Vishne or something. The seventh track. That's when it really, I think, hit like the best of. God, these shoegaze tracks, they sound kind of alt rock.
Yeah, Sam was the one where I was listening to it and I was going like, this is like the Foo Fighters riff.
Yeah, very 90s, very alt rock, but also very shoegaze in a way that I enjoy. Like there's a weird, I don't know what you'd call it, a weird sadness or like trepidation. Maybe it's because of the Eastern European influence, but I got those vibes from some of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and that's what I'm saying. This is still, whilst I don't think it's as grand as some of the other real underground stuff that we've listened to, it is still a foot in the door. It is someone is saying like, "Hey, give me a listen," and it's worth a listen. But it's something in which, like, after the listens I gave to it, I didn't really find myself going into it and saying well, whilst I can remember some of the stuff that's happened on here, and like as you're saying with some of the sounds that occur on it, there was nothing in which I was going like, yeah, that was really cool. I want to listen to you. I want to keep listening to you, or like I want to put you in the mind to listen to later. Like it reminds me of what was the name of the one? It's like Neophyte here. I can't remember what the
Precocious Neophyte.
Precocious. Yeah, it was Precocious. Thank you.
Yeah.
In which that was one in which I remember Trix, you pitched it as, oh, maybe we found the next Paranol, but ultimately we didn't. We found somebody that, yeah, they would put their foot through the door. They were doing some interesting sounds. They were trying stuff, but they still just weren't quite there yet.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel with this one.
There definitely is a hint of it being a bit basic, a bit kind of simplistic, and this is what it is. But I got a lot of enjoyment just from the 8 tracks that are here. Like, condensed, yes. 20 minutes, yes. But I don't really think there was a super dull or boring moment for me listening to this.
I agree.
Again, I wouldn't really call it dull while you're listening to it. I think if you go put it on the full 20 minutes, you're not there going like, oh, fuck, I want to listen to something else, unless you already had in your mind that you wanted to listen to something else. Like, this isn't something in which it's a slog to get through. But if I feel like listening to something else, I'm not going to wait to finish this.
That's fair. And I will say, on my way home just now, just before this recording, I literally had that moment of like, oh, I'm going to turn this on again and listen to it, but I'll probably skip some tracks or go to something else eventually. No, I listened to it all the way through.
It's only 20 minutes. So it's not like it's the biggest slog to get through.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's fun too.
All right, number 5 has come in. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
It is the clarinet.
Oh damn.
So I think we still got the piano to come. That's going to be in there. And we still got the violin. So those
I'm
are going to
still
be
rooting for the cello too.
Cello might make it. I wouldn't actually be surprised if that gets pretty high. I've got 6 votes, and I just want to mention the quick votes that I am still waiting to get in. And obviously, they're all not going to make it in. We've only got 4. The stylophone, which I had to write in, so that's not going to make it. The kalimba, I'm actually surprised didn't get in pretty low there. I thought that would have been 90s. It would have been a lock. The slide whistle, number 1, obviously.
Yes.
The automaton, which if you haven't heard the automaton, I recommend listening to that one. That's a funny one. The turntable, I actually expected. I expected the turntable to make it in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get it. And then what I think should be an absolute lock for number 1 of my remaining votes, the Vuvuzela.
That reminds me, what about the
That would
vibraphone?
be the most Australian thing.
Oh, the vibraphone. Yeah, that did make it. 67.
Got it.
Oh, so the Vuvuzela is not the Australian thing. It's the South African.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didgeridoo is what you're thinking of.
Well, no, I'm just thinking it would be like such an Australian moment for them to make that number 1.
Ah, yeah. Now, we didn't get the saw, but there is actually one that is very close to it that has made it, Dominic. It's the Ohu.
Okay.
So we did get somewhat close.
I hope Jeff Mangum and Brandon McDonald are happy.
And we didn't get the slide whistle, but we did get the tin whistle.
I kind of want to stop recording and listen to Sam.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The steel drum made it at 82. Yes, I am following just out of all this while we're on that. But if you think all these shit posts and stuff, we've heard the cannon made it in. We've obviously seen the recorder make it to 25. The gum leaf at 91. The cowbell at 93. Beatboxing at 97. And the guitar at 100. And you wonder, okay, what could potentially be the biggest shit post that has made it in out of all this? Number 85 was the typewriter.
For Dolly Parton, I'm sure.
Stumble out of bed and it fuck.
They specifically didn't play the typewriter one. There was actually some orchestral moments or cinematic scores in which the typewriter has been quite a vocal, quite an important instrument to it. Like
sure.
if you could obviously imagine some like office scenes or something like that where everyone's busy and you have to hear the typewriters happening in a certain sync. That would actually be obviously the instrumentation in which that's happening in, and would not be the video. So it's like, yeah, it's actually an instrument when you fucking think about it.
Yeah.
And fun fact for the typewriter 5, it's actually Dolly's acrylic nails.
Oh right, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Although a Petite League would be very happy because the Glockenspiel made it at 59.
Hell yeah.
Well, like Spark Alaska would be happy.
Naked uses the Glockenspiel, thank you very much.
You're right. The song that was meant to be a Spark Alaska song and it wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's any fucking more interesting ones that I can mention before we continue on here. Has anyone got an instrument request to see where it's made it?
Well, we talked about the Glockenspiel. We talked about the vibraphone. What about
the marimba. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, the marimba.
43. I thought you were going to say the xylophone, and that's 53.
I did ask about the stylophone earlier, and I think that's when I broke up originally.
The stylophone I had to write in, so it's rarely make it. It hasn't made it.
Any instrument that the Blue Man Group has crafted.
The closest would probably be the cannon.
Is there a rain stick in there at all?
No. Is there anything like a rain stick?
Maraca, shaker.
Actually, no. We haven't actually had the maracas. We've had the triangle, which is one of the ones in that kind of percussion, I guess, in there. Yeah,
tambourine.
Haven't had the tambourine actually. The tambourine has not made it in.
We
have had the djembe. We have the djembe. Haven't had the bongos, surprisingly. We've got the godron. I can't pronounce that correctly. Apologies on that. We've got the tabla, which is kind of like the bongos.
Oh, the
But no,
conga.
so and it's a timpani. But no, we haven't had the conga. Haven't had the any rule shaker one. Surprisingly, honestly, I'm surprised the snare drum was only 94.
Yeah.
Cymbal?
That would be in the drum kit.
Got it.
No, are you actually sorry? Are you talking about the large ones that you got to clash together?
We could count those, yeah.
Yeah, those haven't been in there, but those wouldn't be a part of drum kit.
Anyway, anything else to say about przeprosiny?
That's fine.
I like this. I really like this.
I think we've got 3 different tags.
Yeah.
I am the second supporter on Bandcamp. There's one person before me who got it.
Find them and kill them.
This will probably be my number 2 or 3. I'm not gonna lie.
My favorites are Sam and Vishne, something like that. My least favorite's just out of obligations, Requiem Aeternum, because that's the 27-second interlude.
I wouldn't be able to really properly tell you based off song titles what my favorite and least favorite is. I think the start of this is probably my favorite. We'll go to the intro. Least favorite, I don't know, probably Puste or however it's pronounced.
Okay. All right, Ritz, we have a couple choices left. We're either going to Montana or we're going to Chicago.
Fuck, this is well, I think we've got. I've said that Weatherday is probably the number 1, but then there's one that's going to be. What I thought about it might actually be number 1, and we'll see after I talk about it, and we're just going to go with that. And that's without a doubt the one I chose. Hey, I Love You's Internet Breath.
Yeah.
So I'll introduce. So obviously, me and Dominic had a massive game of chicken for who would be the first one to pick Psychokinetic love songs last year, until Dominic finally said, "You win," and picked it. And I mentioned about how I found the earlier output that Hey I Love You to be a lot more interesting sound-wise. And Internet Breath is one of those. This is straight up one of the most inventive emo moments of the fifth wave. It sounds like it is making most of the use of the limited recording equipment that they have. It definitely is the most video game inspired out of all of them, but instead of it being like Guitar Fight with Fooly Cooly and stuff where we get all these samples and nostalgia moments, this feels like them actually recreating the sounds that they would get from these video games.
Yes.
It's how I would describe if Anna Managuchi was an emo act.
So this is where we have our divide as well, because I did not like this as much as Psychokinetic love songs. I think that album is great. And this is exploring the space, but not quite getting there. I think some of the songs here are a little annoying at times, and there's just a happy-go-luckiness to it that I really struggled with. Like, I like songs that are happy, songs that are really cutesy, and like acts that can do that, but there's something about this that seems purposefully saccharine that I was surprisingly not into.
It's a mad disagree. We're on a mad divide here. I don't think it's so much trying to sound cutesy or happy or anything like that, especially when you hear some of the lyrics like don't talk about your weird complex. Obviously might have a lot of those vibes because it's a lot more indie rock for the majority of that song, but the actual lyricism on that is about getting used by someone who's a close friend. Like, it's wanting to kind of speak up and defend yourself, but being too afraid to do so by someone who just seems to be basically a sociopath. And then you see songs like digitallong.exe, which is more about just kind of being terminally online, which is what a lot of the fifth wave stuff is there. Yeah. And then I think there's Pretty Boy, which talks a lot about kind of self-esteem and stuff like that. And then there's, it's not the most inventive lyricism. It's not the most unique topics or anything like that, but I don't think there's anything on here that's supposed to intentionally sound happy. I just think the sound is definitely going for this more nostalgic video game way, but it's not doing it in this whole like in Guitar Fight with Fooly Cooly. It's like, hey, you remember Mario? Remember Kingdom Hearts? This is actually kind of just recreating the sounds that you would get in this. Like, don't talk about your weird complex. The breakdown literally sounds like a Select Your Fighter, a type of deal in an arcade game.
There's one song on here, I forget exactly which one it is, but it's just the riff from Motorhead's Ace of Spades.
No, that'd be yeah. With the breakdown, that'd be Don't Talk About Your Weird Complex.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, and I do like what they're going for because of those things. And I think other stuff like Slumped being this kind of cool little interval track that's kind of just easygoing, jazzy, a little bit music-y to listen to, that I liked a lot. But I don't know, songs like Weird Complex, I really wanted them to talk about it. Or you know what I mean? Just like be confrontational, go for it. Or it's just like I was actively being like, fuck off a little bit.
Oh shit.
I can get that because you're kind of just like not hearing exactly why they're singing in the song about it. And look, it's not a case of like this is lyricism or topics or anything like that. That's miles above anything else that you're hearing there. It's like, yeah, there's obviously a lot of work to do. And I could probably say that maybe it's a bit better lyricism on the album than it is on here. But still, the big draw to this EP is that this just stands out in a good way in its sound.
The marriage of sound between like digitalness and like emo guitarness, I think does work. I think Digital Lung is a great example of that.
Yeah. It's chiptune emo, and while we did get some of these sounds in the more higher produced album that we got with Psychokinetic Love Songs, the higher production lost just a lot of the charm that this EP it brings. This is one of those few times in which you go and like we've covered a lot of fifth wave emo. When you cover a lot of any genre, you're going to talk about the stuff that is good, but just not up there with the you have to listen to it kind of vibe or anything like that. So, you go like, yeah, this is a good album from the scene. I think you'll like it, blah, blah, blah. When you go to people who have already explored the scene and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is those few times, even though it's not going to be the fucking best of the scene or whatever, it might not even be the best of this type of sound when it goes into the end of it. But this is one of the few times in which I say, no, this is one of the things you need to listen to if you're listening to the scene, because it's so different in its own way that it doesn't sound like the Stomach Book. It doesn't sound like the Home Is Where. It doesn't sound like the Weatherday. It doesn't sound like the Glass Beach. It is still part of the scene, but it sounds completely different enough that it's like, yes, you might not think this is the best thing. You might have some criticisms, but this is still so unique enough that you should listen to it.
Yeah.
It's one of those I've always seen.
That's why it's up there for me.
It's one of those I've always seen recommended, along with Home Is Where, along with Rookie Card, along with, Weatherday gets mentioned here and there, especially on like Bandcamp when you look at the recommended section, right? For other things. Internet Breath is there a lot, I feel like. Internet Breath is mentioned here and there for its inventiveness and differentness. And I can understand why that stands out. I can understand how people flock to that in the scene if they're looking for something different. I would love to see more expansion and more exploration. And I do think Psychokinetic Love Songs does explore that in certain circumstances. Does it do it the most? No. But I also wonder how much you can get away with before you just go into just straight chiptune or go more into just straight emo. Can you do a whole album of it?
Well, I'm going to compare him to Anamanaguchi, and it feels weird to do it for him. I think that is the closest artist I can actually compare him to, especially when going to Thailand and what they sound. Because Anamanaguchi started off as basically just pure chiptune, and then USA, even though you two weren't probably as hot as it on there. And number 4 has just come in, and I will talk about what number 4 is in a second after I finish this thought, because Trix is going to have an orgasm. But in the case of it, Anamanaguchi moved away from the chiptune to make a more EDM focused album, but still kept so much of that chiptune sound in it that it created one of the more interesting and unique EDM albums of the last decade. And I think there is still a lot more to explore in this more heavy chiptune sound for emo. I know it does have the danger of becoming a bit too much video game focused with what the sounds that they're going on, but I feel like we can definitely see a lot more sounds come from this, and that's really what I was hoping for in Psychokinetic Love Songs, and we got some of that sound. I know we got some of that sound, but there's so much more that could be done, and that's what I want to see. I know you don't always have to be stuck with one sound. Bands can evolve into completely different things. I think it's a bit much to say to Hey I Love You that you're doomed to be chiptune forever now because that's what you started off as. No, if they want to stray away and they want to go with the other sound, that's completely on them. And I'm not putting it too much as a critique, but what we actually got from Psychokinetic Love Songs just didn't stand out as much as it could have, in this way of saying like, hey, here's the stuff that made you interesting, and it's not that you're bad now or anything like that. Far from it, because I still enjoyed quite a the songs. So there, Intrusive Thoughts Always was in my top 100 that year. So obviously I still enjoyed the songs on there. But it's, if you're going to stray away from it, are we just straying away to something that's more accessible and has been done? Or are we straying away into a more unique soundscape?
That's fair. And I don't mean to say that, video games can't go in that direction where they can have the mix of chiptune and emo or anything like that. Obviously, I like a lot of video game soundtracks. A lot of vibes can be captured doing chiptune. I just wonder if Hey I Love You is there and able to be equipped to explore those things. And I hope they are. Yeah, they want to move on, they can, but I
said number 4 would give Trix the orgasm. Are you ready, Trix?
Is it the cello?
No.
Oh shit.
It's the oboe.
Oh my god. Hell yeah.
It got number 4.
Was not expecting that.
Apparently Dominic had a bigger orgasm, but yeah.
I was the oboe
Dominic
kid.
was the oboe guy.
Sorry, I got my instruments. I thought the oboe would be bassy enough of a sound for you.
It's basically a fucked up clarinet.
Yeah, and it beat the clarinet.
It is the geese of clarinets.
Yeah.
No, so far it's the king of the clarinets because it fucking pipped it.
One more that I doubt made it, but I want to know the number if it's on there. Bassoon.
The bassoon. You're going to me right now and you're saying the bassoon and you're going like, oh, I doubt it would make it. Cunts, it's number 22.
Fuck yeah.
I was always going to make it. The bassoon's the top tier instrument.
Well, I feel like bassoon is one of those things that people just don't really think about.
No, the bassoon beat the saxophone.
Fuck yeah. Well deserved.
Where's the tuba?
Where's the tuba? That one was actually pretty low comparatively, but it was 45.
Is euphonium on there? I doubt it is.
Euphonium. How do you spell that?
EUPHONIUM, I think.
Is there anything that it's like?
It's like it's a baritone. It's another name for the baritone.
55.
Fuck, was not expecting that.
Yeah, no, that made it. It beat the flugelhorn, but was beaten by the ukulele.
As it should have been.
Yeah. I'll just give other one for this one. 52 was the bass clarinet, since we talked about the bassoon.
All right.
And what's another just interesting one here that we can? Okay, so it's not the cello, it's not the viola, but the viola da gamba was 32. That's the bass viola.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, well, there you go. It is a thing. We haven't got onto cello, so I think I think top 3 is going to be cello, piano, and
violin.
Violin. Yeah.
Is the bass clarinet on there? Oh, you said that, didn't you?
Yeah, 52. Yeah, just then. Yeah, Urillian Pipes was 49. It was beaten by the theremin. And what's just another really funny one to end this with?
You said the tin whistle. How about the penny whistle?
Nah, haven't had the penny whistle.
Piccolo?
The Captain.
Oh, hold on. You just said the piccolo?
Yes.
Yeah, that one did make it. It made it. Now, I just want to say also with the bassoon, the contra bassoon made 84.
Ooh, sexy instrument.
And the piccolo was 57.
Oh, one more. The bagpipes.
Oh, 14.
Trombone.
Trombone, that was 30.
Would slide trombone be different?
The what?
Would a slide trombone be different category? Or different entry?
All trombones are slide trombones.
Yeah, all trombones are slide trombones.
I'm thinking of the trumpet, then.
Yeah, trumpet was number 10.
There are bass trombones and baritone trombones and alto trombones.
Yeah, my dad just messaged me that the top 3 has to be cello, violin, and piano, so that's just something we've agreed. And he's also got no arguments about the Yobo.
What if one of those three doesn't make it?
Then it better be the fucking Vuvuzela that's replacing them.
Yes.
Singing Saw, please.
Now, if we're lucky, they'll release the 200 afterwards.
Ooh, yes.
Which we got that for the soundtrack one, which I think that was there was a soundtrack top 200. I'll go get that up, but until we get that up, my favorites on here. Harpsichord was actually really fucking high. It was 19.
Got it.
Harpsichord is classy.
Yeah.
Your favorites are?
Yeah, favorites are Digital Lung, Don't Talk About Your Weird Complex, and Projection Joins the Battle. Least favorite, probably Behave Like Tundra.
I'm gonna agree with Ritz's agrees and just say I have no least favorites.
Favorites are Digital Lung EXE, and Slumped. Least favorite is Don't Talk About It and Pretty Boy.
Okay.
And that now leaves us with OK Cool's Fawn.
This is just okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I think this is the best OK Cool release so far. There's 8 tracks. It's only 17 minutes, but I really think it shows off their style and what they can do a lot better than any of their other EPs have. Hello? Difficulties again. Am I off the line? That's not good.
Yeah, I agree
there we
with
go.
that.
Hello again.
Hello. Hello. Are you back, Dominic?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened this time. It just did a different glitch.
Either way. Yeah, so as I was saying, Surrealist is better than Fawn.
I couldn't pick between them. It's like picking between two kids.
I just think it shows a lot of their style a lot better and what they can do. Like, there's a lot of just variety here.
It's better than Songs from the Spare Room. It's better than
Nomia.
Anomia, yeah. I think Surrealist just had a lot more coherency to it, which I liked. This, when we're going into what they're describing as an album, this isn't apparently an EP, it's apparently an album. I think they are a little lost in exactly with what they want to do, but not completely lost. Number 3 is the violin.
Of course. Fuck yeah, the cello beats the fucking violin.
Yeah, cello is better than the violin, baby. That's exactly how it's between the cello and the piano. That's going to be a fucking tough one. Yeah, because there were moments on here which I was going like, yeah, cool, I'm liking this. Like, the singles are actually pretty good leading up into this, and then I basically left the album really only caring about the singles. So I think they knew what the best ones were here, and then we just got a bit of average, okay, cool to end this. I don't know. Maybe I was expecting more. Maybe I got too much high hopes on this one before I listened to it. Again, I don't come out of this hating it, anything. I think it's still a nice release from here, and we just got more okay, cool. Can't really complain about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to really pinpoint exactly too much what's wrong with it. But I think we just lost a bit of coherency and would have liked to get it back. I think we lost a bit of what made their Surrealist EP interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely seems like they are branching away from what Weekend Run Club was and going into more of an emo sound, which I think that's cool. At least I think it's it's definitely a case of that's more what they want to do than what they want to do with Weekend Run Club, and that's what they're doing it. So you go, girls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wasn't as hot on Surrealist or Anomia, so maybe that's where my tastes come in. That's a little bit different, where I like that they're sticking to having shorter songs and they're trying to really marry kind of the indie emo side to what we expect from like emo stuff of the past, where they were like 10 tracks, 10-minute album kind of thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. I like a lot of the stuff that they do here in terms of like the sample at the end of Normalcy being from It's Always Sunny. Great choice. Love that. Or Whiplash having the I think that was one that had the drum machine, which was again a nice little addition to their repertoire. And from my understanding was actually just from the demo they made, and they were like, let's keep it. If
Yeah.
anything, I could describe this as a weird combination of fan club wallet and Boy Scout.
I don't really see the Boy Scout, but I see the fan club wallet.
Boy Scout
Yeah,
more from some of the vocals, just maybe some of the deadpanness of some of it.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I think of that song "Killer Whale" or whatever it's called, and I have okay cool vibes in my head from that.
Now I
No,
just want to listen to
I
the,
want to
album.
distract everybody, and there's a really fucking fantastic meme here. I don't know how aware you two are about the referendum that's getting voted for at the end of this year, which is with the Aboriginal voice to Parliament. And then Batuta Advocate, a satire post, has just made this meme in regards to Thrift Shop when we voted that as number one in the hottest 100.
That's
Is
brutal.
it bad if I say it's a good song?
Thrift Shop was totally fine when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fine. We voted at number one. I'm gonna pop some tags, baby.
Macklemore gets too much hate.
Well,
Or-
it's a definition of failure by success, because he got a shit ton of hate after the Grammys after he was seen of robbing Kendrick Lamar, and even Macklemore agreed that that Kendrick Lamar deserved it. And
Yeah.
instead of everybody having a go at the Grammys, who are the racist fucks, they had a go at Macklemore.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate. But I mean, also, I feel like he tried a bit too hard to really correct the idea that he was a white guy in rapping. Like, he's a white guy in hip hop. I get it, and you have to acknowledge a certain amount of racial bias and whatnot. But
Yeah, there was one Macklemore song that I will 100% defend though, because it was basically when he had all those criticisms and stuff like that of being just a cheesy white rapper, he then put out the cheesiest, whitest song he could have possibly put out, and it's fucking funny. And that's Downtown. I will defend the shit out of that song.
oh, I love Downtown.
Downtown's
Yeah.
great.
That's
I'll defend that one.
That's the singer from Foxy Shazam.
Yeah.
I think that my more cancelable take is me enjoying Macklemore over my Chinese football take.
People can enjoy Macklemore. It was a really popular song.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 2012 was a different time, man.
I mean, 2012 was fucking Thrift Shop and Gagnam Style.
God, fuck.
Actually, one of the weirdest things about that hottest 100 though, you know what was
2013,
actually
but-
in 2012? You know what was actually the favorite to win it that year?
What?
Of Monsters and Men, Little Talks.
That's a good song.
That was absolutely fucking huge in this country. I don't know how big it was in the United States, but I could not go a day without hearing Little Talks, and that was not by choice. Yeah. Just absolutely fucking huge song here. And then everyone expected that to win. And then number one, what,
Downtown should have been the next Thrift Shop.
Yeah.
Downtown was still pretty popular here.
Yeah, but not enough
Wasn't
to make
as
Eric
popular.
Shaw Nolly a household name.
No.
As a somewhat aside, we can totally blame Gangnam Style for BTS.
No.
Yep. We can.
Yes. We can.
Although from everything I've heard, apparently Psy is just like a really good, like a really nice guy, and has actually practically helped a lot of Korean pop artists.
I hope so.
He seems like that, but it just, without the popularity of Gangnam Style, it would not have opened the door for BTS, Blackpink, whatever K-pop idol group is the flavor of the week.
Yes and no, but it's not like because of stuff like Eiffel 65 that we had a whole influx of a bunch of like European artists like that dominating the charts all the time.
There would be no Eurodance slander in this chat.
I'm not slandering Eurodance. I'm just saying Eurodance never became like the most popular genre in the world.
I had this discussion with Pete the other night about Eurodance, and Eurodance was so just randomly, like, it was popular everywhere, obviously. Like, United States, you obviously got it.
Yes.
But you know all those Eurodance artists that you would just go, oh, they just had the one hit and left?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Australia, we made sure the follow-up was a hit as well.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, it's such a weird trend that also left a lot of people very famous for one song, like Lou Bega or Scatman John, or like the late '90s were
Redneck
weird for
is
that.
one I would like to highlight with Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a classic in Eurodance.
Specifically, because one of their follow-up songs, Richie Blackmore's band did a cover of.
There's it was DJ Semi. It was the one that you'll know Heaven, obviously. But the follow-up he did was a cover that also the Ataris did a cover of the same song. I can't remember what it fucking was. I'm just gonna go and just quickly check that up. But it was a cover of the Boys of Summer of a Don Henley track, and that was a hit. That was
interesting.
The Ataris.
Yeah, the Ataris did a cover of that as well.
Yeah, that's the one that I can think of.
Yeah, that was just that was the top 10 in Australia.
My point though in the end is that you had Eurodance hits everywhere. It doesn't mean Eurodance was like given a golden ticket to dominate every chart.
Yeah, fair.
I understand the willingness to draw a line from Psy to the K-pop industry being what it is, but Gagnam Style doesn't sound like the rest of that K-pop, really.
Yeah.
Like the rest of the K-pop, especially the stuff that was popular when I was more listening to it, when I was in my old apartment with my roommate, a lot of that was inspired by like 90s boy band stuff.
Yeah.
I think you could speak more to the nostalgia and the willingness to go back to songs like that and sounds like that than, oh, Psy did all of this. Psy is the cause of everything.
Yeah, that's fair.
Either way, it is okay. Cool album's alright. It's okay. That's how I feel about it.
It's okay. Cool.
I like Normalcy, and I'll probably go back to it the most out of all this, and same with Dissonant Weekends. Yeah, the rest exists, and it's more okay, cool. But yeah, I was hoping for more on this. I will say the album art, beautiful, love it.
Yeah,
very nice. I really like Soaked In. Normalcy's fun. Dissonant Weekends I kind of like. I like Whiplash for the drum machine part, but the rest of it is very much just there.
Yeah, favorites is Normalcy and Dissonant Weekends. Least favorite is Treat Me Nice.
It's a bit of a blender for me, but a good blender.
The songs that I mentioned, I like. The rest that I don't have least favorite.
And with that, we've covered 6 records.
This ranking's gonna be brutal for all of us.
I'm just gonna start.
Yeah.
So the last one is the Pollocks.
Przeprosiny.
That's number 5. I think I'm gonna have to give to. Oh gee, that's a hard one. But I actually think when I think about it, I'm gonna have to give number 5 to Guitar Fight from Fooly Cooly and number 4 to OK Cool, because I think I appreciate OK Cool a bit more than Guitar Fight. Then number 4 has to be Chinese. Oh, sorry, number 3, has to be Chinese Football. And then number 2 is where the real fight comes in. And like it's one of those ones where you got to see me listen to the number 2 a lot more than the number 1. But the number 1, sometimes I just take in the context of what it is, and you have to realistically go as number 1. So number 2 is Hey I Love You's Internet Breath EP, and number 1 is Weatherday Come In.
6.
Number 6 for me, Chinese Football. Number 5, OK Cool. Number 4, Guitar Fight from Fooly Cooly. Number 3, The Pollocks. Number 2, Hey I Love You. And number 1 is Weatherday.
I think the majority of these would not be number 1 for me on most weeks, but since we're at that point, I will make this list as following. Number 6 is Hey I Love You. Number 5 is Chinese Football. Number 4 is Guitar Fight from Fooly Cooly. Number 3 is OK Cool. Number 2 is Weatherday. Number 1 is Przeprosiny.
Okay.
For the pure amount of stuff I enjoyed from that one 20-minute album, not a dull moment. Everything else had duller moments and things I did not enjoy as much. But now, this leads us to round 2 of our draft. And this time around, y'all can hear me still, right? I'm not going out of it again.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes,
Dear God, I don't want to fucking have to figure this shit out again. The second round of this draft is going to be purely legacy picks. And you can pick whatever you want from this list. It just has to be from these 25. I'm posting them again in the chat. To go over it briefly, number of Origami Angels, Quiet Hours, Doing the Most, A Basement's No Fun, The Origami Angels, Commander Salamander Split, Ogbert the Nerd, more Origami Angel, Rookie Card, Oolong, more Rookie Card, Origami Angel again, Lobster Fight, Ogbert the Nerd, Hey I Love You, Agent Glow, Civil War in France, The Downfall of the Neon Youth, Paranol, Agent Glow, collaboration with the third artist, 5 Pebbles.
Sonos Tonum Conta.
Yes, thank you. Weather Glow, Postcard Nowheres, both Juvenile Demos and Sinner, Asian Glow again, Through the Soil 2, Cool Kids, The Light, and I don't even know how you pronounce the last man, Fuvik? Or just fuck?
I think it's just fuck, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fuck,
So-
but you typed it.
Yeah, it's a fuck, but a V instead of a C.
Yeah.
I'll let others pick first, but I'm just gonna ask, are we limited to picking one?
No, you can pick
Or
what
is
you
it-
like.
Cool. I'm not picking all 25, that's not gonna be the meme.
Yeah, don't do that.
Uh,
That'll be my one thing. Don't pick a bunch just to be that dick.
Yeah. Cool. I'll let Trix pick first. I think it's funny.
Okay. I'm gonna do some shorter ones, just because that seems fun. I'm gonna do the Civil War in France. Fucking what was the other one I saw?
We'll do this in rounds. So you pick the Civil War in France first.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick one. No, let Ritz you pick one.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna pick a multiple here, so I'm gonna
Do one at a time though. I'll let you say the first round.
I think I'm going to actually fuck over Dominic in my attempts here, and let's see if I've done it. I'm going to pick the Gen 3 EP.
Okay. All right. That is not one I expected to get picked, but I'm glad we're going to talk about it finally. I am going to pick, because Trix actually picked one of the ones I was going to pick.
Ah.
Let's
Damn.
go with the album I am most curious about, Postcard Nowhere Sinner.
Okay.
I'm just typing these up, so we're ready for this.
All right.
Trix,
5 Pebbles, Forget Me Not EP.
cool. And the other one that I was going to pick, so I only had the 2 picks in here, but this one should probably come as no surprise if you've listened to me or seen my top 100s, in which I've recognized this album and I go, yeah, there's some good shit off that. So I'm picking Pool Kids.
It's
Okay.
I could pick a lot of things, but I think we have to we have to go into Asian Glow somehow. I feel like we'd be really missing out on an important part of this wave if we don't talk about Asian Glow.
That is fair. Which one are we?
Yeah.
Which one are we doing?
Oh god, there's 3 choices I could make here. Which one's shorter? Let's go with fuck it. Let's go with Downfall of the Neon Youth.
Now, I think that's funny that you kind of go on that there's 3 Asian Glow. There was actually 4.
Yeah.
LOL.
I'm just writing that down as that. So I think we're happy with those 6.
I'm gonna be cocky and add a third one for my pick.
Okay.
All right, what are you picking?
Fuck Goodnight Moon.
Okay, fair enough. And there we go. Those are the
Oh, wait,
7 picks.
You know what? No. I'm gonna do one more because it's short.
Fair enough.
I wanted to throw in Rookie Cards, A House That Sat Silent and a Star Nearing the End of Its Life.
Rookie cards being introduced.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's long, so I'm gonna pick the longest one out of all. Now
Fuck you.
we're good. I'm happy with the 2 choices I have.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Me too.
Alright, so at the end, we have chosen The Civil War in France is self-titled, Origami Angels Gen 3, Postcard Nowhere Sinner, 5 Pebbles Forget Me Not, Cool Kids is self-titled. And how do you pronounce this artist again?
I just said Sonos Tonum Conta.
Sonos Tanhon Ganta, Paranol and Asian Glow's Downfall of the Neon Youth, Fuck's Goodnight Moon, and Rookie Cards, House That Sat Silent and a Star Nearing the End of Its Life. Alright.
Let me actually type it. I'm typing a house there, so I don't fucking just go for the other rookie card. Cool.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a fun week of listening, and then remember on the Friday, new home is where. So I'm going to completely
yes.
ignore all the listenings and just listen to that 20 times. So
Yeah,
Well, next week
I think we all are going to do that. Don't worry.
Next week is going to be all new picks because this is the legacy week. Next week will be all new.
Yep.
So that's intentionally designed. I keep in mind.
I know. I'm still telling you what I'm going to do next week. Until then, I've been Riddle, and you can catch me on my website, Riddle for Kids on GitHub.io. I also have a YouTube channel that's in the description below. I'm rushing this because we're 2 hours in.
LOL.
Yeah, I've been Trix. Catch me on Twitter. Buy our merch. Check out our website. Check out our YouTube page. We have a clock with our logo on it.
I'm Dominic.
Clock.
Catch me online at DACICHOCKI on Twitter. I'm on the Games My Mom Found podcast sometimes with just an episode about Kingdom Hearts 2. You can check that out on YouTube or wherever podcasts are otherwise. Unlike Distant Waves, we're only on YouTube. We're loyal for some reason to YouTube.
Yes.
I will also mention for the record that Postcard Nowhere's Sinner is a Bandcamp thing. It is not on Spotify.
All right.
If you look at Spotify, it literally says, please check out the bonus LP Sinner on bandcamp.com or something like that.
Gotcha.
And it has a handful of tracks. So, yes. That'll be it for us. Have a great week.
Fuck yeah.